5:30, I'm going to call the Public Works Committee meeting to order. First item on the agenda, consideration of Public Works Committee meeting minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 2, discussion of possible action on the purchase of a field drag for Grandview Park. Who's going to talk about that here? Is it Tom or?
Yeah, either one.
Looks pretty straightforward.
Yeah, we need a new drag for doing the infields out at Grandview Park. We have some money in an equipment reserve fund. That's where we sell vehicles and the old equipment. I think we have like $25,000, just about $26,000. We had requests that we could take $5,000 from the reserve fund and purchase a new drag for Grandview Park for the ball fields.
I'll move to approve. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Is this way better than the old one, or is the old one?
Just wore out. It's like 10, 12 years old, and now with actually the boosters, we're starting to get like national tournaments in the summer now, and you know, we just want to make sure that we have the fields in good condition for when they have high-end tournaments like that. But yeah, the other one is wore out. It needs to be replaced.
Okay. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Next on the agenda is the discussion of possible action on the repairs to the city garage overhead garage doors.
I might let Kevin work, you know, if you want to go for it. I know he deals with it on a day-to-day basis. So
basically, the garage doors that we have at the garage right now were installed in 1976. I've been replacing the openers here and there, trying to slowly fix everything, but every month we have the garage door service coming in and fixing and repairing the doors that we have now, and it's just not cost effective. We're spending anywhere between $500 to $1,000 a month just in repairs, and now they're starting to fall out of the tracks. So my concern is either one of the garage doors will fall down on somebody or a piece of equipment. And these doors are open and closed frequently, so we need to get the equipment in and out. And if we can't get the garage doors open, it causes a lot of issues with trying to maneuver around and get things in and out. So I would like to replace the openers that we haven't replaced. I believe there's 5 that we haven't replaced yet, and then all the garage doors, so that for one, it will help on our efficiency as far as heating and things. And also on the outside of the garage doors, we have a key fob, or not a key fob, but a key that we use to open and close the doors. One of them is worn out already and we can't replace them. And the key style that we have only fits that certain not function, but locking system to open and close the doors. And to replace that key system is about $500 a piece for that. So what we're trying to do is get the new openers so we can have garage door buttons right inside the vehicles. So I'd rather place a $35 garage door opener instead of a $500 key. I mean, we still want to be able to have the access, because they're going to keep the push button on the inside of the garage door to open and close it, and that key lock that we can use to open and close the doors, but it just won't be used as much, you know, because we'll be able to use the garage door opener.
What's the cost?
It'll cost about $20,000 to replace all 9 garage doors.
And 5 openers, you said?
Yeah, and I believe it's 5 openers is what we have to replace.
That's all this, it says safety eyes and all the everything, right?
Yep.
So it's going to have sensors and.
Yep.
What are the width of these garage doors? Are they 12 foot or?
There are 12-foot doors on it right now.
Where are the funds?
I think we talked to Brenda about that, and There, there's some monies in the undesignated capital fund. You know, it's capital funds that were used for other projects that maybe there's a little left over here and there. So there's some monies available in the undesignated capital funds. But we'd have to, you know, make a request from the Public Works Committee to council for that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request for the garage door, overhead garage doors.
I'll second that. 1976 sounds like a long time.
Got our money's worth out of those doors,
Yeah,
man.
we've
for sure.
replaced a few panels and things, but the springs and the cables are wore out and
Yeah.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next up is project update, Public Works.
I got a little list here. Really a lot of stuff going on, but just an update. As you all know, we'll be working on the Walnut Street Bridge. That's all ready to go with the construction starting here April 16th. Supposed to be completed before Memorial Weekend, so we'll hold on to that. Hanley Road resurfacing and curb and gutter repairs will be starting midsummer with some of the lane changes and turn lanes, and some of the crosswalk issues will be resolved. I think that's going to be a really good project. Streetlight poles were approved last night. We'll put the order in for the poles and get quotes for the installation. We have to do a ceiling repair down at the band shell. That's falling apart. We want to do some new lighting. That's some bad lights up in there. We'll be getting quotes for that. That's been already approved from the capital projects for 2018. Street maintenance, that's our crack filling, seal coating, generally project we've been doing every year. It's, I think it's around $130,000 this year. Would you like to know some of the streets that we're anticipating doing? Hagan Street from Crestview to Hanley, Hanley Road from Hagan to Carmichael, Industrial Street, Hanley Road to Mayor Road, Buckeye Street from, First Street from Buckeye to Elm, Walnut Street, 1st to 3rd, Cooley Road, 19th to Carmichael Road. Last year we started some up in the new business park. We'd like to finish that. And we'll use alternates. We'll put an alternate bid in, and we'd like to get back into Beaneman Farms. We'll, see where our money goes, and we'll use Beaneman Farms as an alternate. I did see another one today. I want to add to the list is Ward Avenue from 19th Street to, 17th to 19th Street. We milled and overlaid that about 4 years ago. So I think we're going to just stick with crack filling this year, and keep the those 5, 6, 7 rated streets crack filled and in as good a shape as we can. I think that's a good investment. So that's
Tom, how's Vine Street going to hold up? It's looking pretty rugged right now.
it took a beating this fall, or this winter. It took from Wisconsin down to 9th Street, took a beating.
I think Laurel Street did too. Laurel's in pretty tough shape. Are we going to flex patch those, or?
Anything we can, we've had two crews out doing street maintenance this spring. We bought that used spray patcher from the county a couple years ago, and that's really working out good. And then we have a heated asphalt trailer, so we have 2 guys on that. So we've been, working pretty hard with the potholes. So I think probably 17th Street and Laurel Avenue. I think they've been up there with the spray patcher a little bit.
they have been. They're waiting for a lot of it to dry out first, so
Yeah.
it's better.
Okay, cool.
So we're getting the letter of engagement ready for that. Bolton and Mink worked on that last year, so we'll be getting a letter of engagement for that. Stormwater improvements projects for 2018. we met the other day, and the locations where we'd like to get done is division between Second and Third. That's a storm line in between by the gutter line there. Seventh and Summer area. Catch basin at Enlow Street, intersection of O'Neill and Enlow. Lockwood Court has a stormwater outfall. Nemacogan Loop, it's on the cul-de-sac. The water does not drain to the catch basin. The water sits in a low spot, so we're going to add a catch basin to that, right in that area, the low spot, and then put a new pipe down to the next closest catch basin. And then last year we had an alternate on our project. There's a manhole at 9th and Orange. We're going to put that in there also. So those would be the proposed stormwater improvements for the summer.
Sounds good.
Sidewalk program. We still have some sidewalks down in the business part of downtown that we'd like to get at this summer. You know, there's trip hazards. We've done some patching, some sawing and things, but that's always challenging because by the time they tear out the sidewalks and replace it, and it's tough, right? Especially in some of them are right in front of business front doors.
Right.
So you know, we've been kicking the can down, and we have to get those done this summer, and that's we want to get an earlier start and do that. Also, as part of the sidewalk program, we'd like to look at the walking trail on the south end of Hagan Street from Montcroy to the dead end by those apartments. We were going to crack fill them and do some type of seal coat over them last year, and they're just beyond that. Really? I think we're going to have to take the asphalt up and repave it. So I'd like to see if we can, I'll get some quotes and prices on that and see if we can get that worked into our sidewalk program this summer. Met with the chamber this afternoon, Blake and Mary Weller. I was at a pre-con down in Eau Claire last Thursday about I-94 updates. And I wish I could give you firm dates about the closures and any detours. They keep saying that they'll let us know as they get closer to the date, and we want to know because of the businesses downtown. We want to know a firm date, and we can't quite get it from them. I do know that the last email that I got from the project manager is that they're going to be closing Front Street. I think it's going to be either April 11th to April 20th. The exact dates, it should be closed for a couple days, but they're going to have it closed from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So the road will be closed off to the residents from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. We did send out a courtesy letter. It's Monday, just to let the residents know this is coming. And I'm going to meet with Mike Johnson, and I will meet with the project manager maybe next Wednesday or Thursday, and we're going to try to send out letters in the next day or so to have a public or a neighborhood meeting for the people down there to make sure that they're informed, and maybe work with EMS and fire and see how we can, we want to have a plan. So we're going to try to get that scheduled for maybe next Wednesday or Thursday.
So they'll have access during the day, just not at night.
But if something happens at night, or how do they? I know there's a safety on the far south end. There is a road that goes. It's a private driveway up the hill. Rusink, I believe, is the guy's name, or used to be. So I'd like to visit with him just and say if there ever was emergency ambulance or at least a chaser or a brush truck could get down there if there was a fire. So I want to meet with him also. And then as far as the closures when they're coming in and going out of town, they don't have exact dates on those. They said that there's not going to be a big detour in town here, or as far as people exiting should be able to go westbound. People coming into town might be directed to go up to Carmichael Road. which could add more congestion up there. People coming eastbound, or excuse me, westbound when they want to exit down by Highway 35, that might have to be detoured, on Carmichael Road also, but.
I thought they said
We're going to put them over the bridge.
Yeah, they were going to send them across the river and come back.
Yes, they talked a little bit about that this morning too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, who said that? Blake, I think it was, or somebody.
Yeah.
So they did mention that today also, but Blake and I are going to actually go out to, they have weekly meetings out at they have a construction trailer out by the exit 4. So Blake and I are going to be going out there this Thursday, and maybe we'll continue to go out there so we can keep updated.
That's quite the plant they have on the side of the highway there. It's huge.
I'm a little nervous about that. We met last fall and we said, can you put it somewhere else? Because I'm just a little worried about all the trucks hauling and the dust. And they said they had the latest and greatest dust controls and scrubbers and things, but I wonder about
1920s.
So that's for updates. Just future topics I think we should at least talk a little bit about is, I'd like to, with Vine Street, we have the funding set aside, I believe, for 2019 for Vine Street. Because of the scope of the project and with the utilities, I know there's telephone and things going up the hill, maybe electric, gas. I'd like to maybe sit down and see if we can get a letter of engagement for some engineering to get started, so we could get some of those utilities locate started. Something you can't do in next January or February. It's something that we should probably be working on this fall. Maybe we should be working on that letter of engagement.
Well, they have a much longer school break this summer because they're trying to finish the high school construction. So maybe we could time it with that. So, you know what I mean? Because when are they starting? It's like mid-May, or so they're going to have a lot longer, like a 4-month summer instead of the 2 or what they normally.
Yeah.
Mid-May and mid-September. So.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a 2019 project, but we just need to get going on the engineering.
Right.
Yeah. So, and something we went over with some of the fertilizing, in the parks. I'd like to see if maybe in the future get an aerator, a city aerator. We got some costs on having our lawn care provider service guy give us some estimates, and I looked at it and I said, holy smokes, after we do it a few times, we could just about buy our own. Well, we got equipment to do it, so I'd like to just look into that. And I know I brought it up 2 or 3 times, but when that dog track goes, we're going to lose a lot of snow storage. We have to sit down and figure out where we're going to put this snow from downtown in the cul-de-sacs, and we need to find either a spot or look into one of these snow melters or something. I know the guy developing riverfronts, is that Brian Zeller? I spoke with him. He said if I bought one, he said, would the city consider renting one? So he's seen them in action over in some of his his properties over in Woodbury. They have them over there. So and I've seen them. I've been to a couple demos, but that's something we should maybe consider, or some land. We just can't put snow on a vacant lot because there's so much dirt and cans and things. We need a hard surface, some asphalt or concrete. So just something that we should be keeping on the back of our heads talking about. We had some issues or some complaints about plowing efficiencies and getting cul-de-sacs plowed in a timely fashion. With that, and I know that we have this urban forestry, the emerald ash borer, it keeps getting more and more, and as we move forward with our MS4, we're getting it's just incredible amount of things that we're going to need to do. We're getting that plan put together as far as pond maintenance, stormwater inventories to get repairs, and just testing and things like that. I just wanted to just put a heads up to the Public Works Committee that this fall that Public Works is going to be requesting for more staffing. Then you throw in the new development, you know, the Carmichael Ridge, that has 7 more cul-de-sacs, which we haven't plowed the last 2 winters because the road hasn't been turned over to us.
How many do we have now?
70?
With miles?
No, cul-de-sacs.
Cul-de-sacs.
Maybe it's not 70.
I
I had them counted.
I'd have to count them again to.
But anyway, I do know that this is going to add 7 more, and I know they had a smaller piece of equipment, but the last time that one contractor plowed Carmichael Ridge when we had that 11 or 12 inches this winter, it took them 12 hours. I know that was with a smaller piece of equipment, but I figured with the equipment that we use, it's going to be at least 4 to 5 hours. So when we start, we're already getting some complaints now from people saying that they can't get out of their cul-de-sacs. And all of a sudden you throw another 5 hours onto our workload, we're going to hear about it. So I just wanted to put it out there for conversation someday, and you know, so when you know, August or September comes around and we're putting our budget together, that we need a couple more guys. And then, you know, if we're going to do cul-de-sacs, we probably need a piece of equipment to do that. Otherwise, we're going to just go with what we have, and we're going to, it's just going to take us 3-4 hours longer.
What kind of equipment?
Well, the best thing that we found is the equipment that articulates, and that's our front-end loader with a wing and plow combo. But, you know, if you buy new, Kevin and I, we looked the other day, you know, we've looked at it, it's $250,000 for that piece of equipment. Maybe there's something we can buy used or not, but we don't like doing that. We get someone else's problems.
Well, you know, we also have to say on an average snowfall, how long are people really waiting? I mean,
that's true too.
You kind of got to manage expectations at some point. I mean,
Yeah.
on a 6 to 10 inch snowfall, it takes a while to clear snow. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll look at that.
So with that said, is that, you know, we can field, you know, and I know you guys field complaints too, but then I'd say, hey, we're doing the best we can with the equipment that we have. We need your backing also.
I just tell them to call you. So
I know that.
Hope that works.
Especially, don't give them my cell number. Half of them, as soon as you call someone with your cell phone, they got your number. So just a heads up on that, and someday, you know, as we talk about all our street projects, and you know, we're putting in, you know, $1 million a year into street projects, and then another $130,000 into maintenance. Maintenance. I'd like to, you know, throw out there someday we should maybe get an estimate of getting a professional management, a road management analysis where it'll, you know, looks at all our roads and says, okay, here's what you need to maintain a certain level of quality of roads. And
Did we not talk about that?
We did. Tom mentioned it, and Tom Sivko said he was going to look into it.
And that was on his list, exit interview with me and Mike, that, you know, that's something we
Yeah.
really should be getting into, because, you know, we're doing the right thing spending that money, but, you know, to maintain a certain quality of roads, is it $1 million? Is it $2 million? You know, and where do you start? Where do you go? Where's our best bang for the dollar? So
Yeah, I'd like
it's something we should really keep
We
moving
really
forward.
need that program.
For sure.
Whether we do it ourselves, or probably better if someone.
So we had also launched the pickleball people over to Parks Department. Is that right?
Yeah, and I have that on my list too, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Well, I just didn't want to lose sight of it. It didn't
Oh.
want to go into the abyss. So, I mean, you can bring it up now, or we could talk about it later.
Yeah, I can just give you a little bit of update. Kevin and I met with one of the group the other day, and the last park board meeting we had, we migrated from White Camp Park, and then we seen the possibilities there, and then we went to Grandview Park and identified a location there, which I think is very doable. But then the struggle was with the funding of the pickleball courts and things. They kind of wanted to go where the money was, and you know, I think there was some park dedication fees that maybe could be used for the courts at White Camp, but not Grandview. So they kind of wanted us to relook at White Camp, and Kevin and I went up there and they showed us the location where they wanted to put this court. And it's the size, when you talk about 8 courts, it's the size of a football field.
Really?
It's very huge. It's for 8 courts, what was it, 140 by 130
It's a big footprint.
feet long and wide. So we put cones out where they proposed, and then we identified issues with, there was 2 storm lines that went underneath them that would have to be moved. There's a sanitary sewer that goes underneath the court. And one thing I forgot to say when we were, I realized that when we got back, the power service comes from that pole from down by the storm pond up through the middle of it. So there's like 3 or 4, there's storm sewer, there's wastewater, and there's electric and water through there, all underneath where they proposed. So we just basically said, this isn't going to work here. You can't move all those utilities. So I think we're, suggested that they reconsider and maybe relook at Grandview Park, where we, up by the ball fields. And then we'll just have to keep working on, funding, or they said they're working on getting grants and donations. And I said, we certainly can include that in the 2019 and 2020 capital requests, where I said, that's not a guarantee. There's a lot of people looking for squad cars and ambulances and new buildings and dump trucks and things like that. So I said, that we'll certainly include that in the list, but where it ends up, I don't know.
My question is, why can't we use park impact fees at Grandview?
We can, but there's only like $160,000, and with
until
that,
they build out the other part first, the other things that aren't done out there.
yeah, the park board had a list of things that they would like to do out at Grandview, and one of them was put in a restroom down by the playground.
Okay.
So that's kind of ahead of list, unless the park board would want to move this ahead, but that's still, that 160 might not be enough to do the pickleball courts fully, but with their grants, it could. That would be a decision that the park board would have to make and then be approved by council, if you want to put that down the list.
Yep.
But with the added people, and then the use of the park, I mean, the restroom, I would think it would be, you do the restroom first, so that's there, and then you would go on to the pickleball. But that would be the park board's recommendation to the council, and then there would be a discussion.
Okay. Thank you.
Sailing school, I emailed that guy and said that the council approved Plan B1, and that the council approved the south end of the park. So I said I can work with him directly. It's been approved by council in the park, so I'll be working with the sailing school.
Good.
And I think that's all I have.
That's plenty.
Yeah. It took up most of the meeting.
It's bigger than my list, yeah.
Anything else you guys, I mean, if you guys hear things or, that we can do better? And
I got one, just having the opportunity to spend a lot of time down in the south end of my district. And I've heard comments before about Hanley Road and parking on Hanley Road and how difficult it is. We're talking basically from Carmichael to Carmichael and Nemacoggin is where people park. Mostly down towards Nemacoggin, and it narrows. It seems to. I had my tape measure. I didn't dare step out there and measure it, but it seems to me it's narrowing down there, and it's kind of scary. I actually parked there and sat there. It was a little bit scary. A lot of cars were going, moving out and crossing lanes, and so I think we need the. And it's on the west side of that. Once you cross. Gosh, what's that? It's County Road F on the map, but I know that's not the name of it.
O'Keefe Road?
O'Keefe, yeah. Once you cross that, it's one side, no parking.
I don't know if the road narrows there, or if it's all the same. I'll have to look at our maps.
I know it's certainly narrow. It is on the east end. It's really wide on the east end.
Okay.
But it's
is not that I'm trying to skip it, but is that a public safety issue first, or do we normally look at that stuff? Or?
I never thought about
Generally,
that.
that's where it starts, is a public safety.
So it's the area on Hanley Road between
O'Keefe and
O'Keefe.
Namakagon,
No, it'd be from
Further.
Nemacolin. It'd be,
further east.
yes, east of Nemacolin.
There's a Tamarack
At
Way or
Namacoggin,
whatever.
the Foxtail, not Foxtail,
Yeah.
is it?
Foxglove.
Foxglove.
Oh,
Yeah.
across from Alders area.
Yeah,
It's
And maybe not
quite
even quite that far.
It's
Mid-
before the retirement home there. It's basically where the apartments are
Right.
on both sides. There's townhomes on one side and I believe there are 4 plexes or
Right.
6 plexes on
Yep.
the,
So would you just feel
North
parking
side.
on one side then? Or?
I think parking on one side would probably make things a lot better. Then we could, adjust the,
yeah, and I think it's the north side, because the south side has some driveways, or more interruptions, I think.
So would you like to, put that on the public safety then?
I can put it there.
All right, anything else?
Move to adjourn.
second.
Before we adjourn, Tom, thank you for your service on Public
Yeah,
Works.
thank you very much.
Thanks.
That's your insight, yeah. Best of luck to you.
So Tom Sifko is gone.
He's going to actually be back on Thursday for one day.
Okay. All right. Well, I didn't think we gave him a proper send-off at the council.
I was wondering, we probably
we
should
didn't.
have. And maybe the next meeting we should, or invite
Yeah.
him back and
Yeah.
give him
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so
We
too.
saved the citizens a lot of money.
Yeah, that was, a lot of little things that he took off the plate of the engineering firms that, I think was good. And it was nice having a guy right in the building and bouncing stuff off. And he was a smart guy.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a word about replacement.
I don't know.
I think it's going to be on the next agenda, council.
Okay. Got a motion second, all in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
All right.
All right.
Oh, could I do one more thing before you adjourn? Just a reminder that Arbor Day celebrations April 28th from 10 to noon. Wild Wings celebration at the Phipps Center May 11th at the Phipps at 6:30 p.m. And anyone interested in buying a tree of the year, we have them for sale. You can sign up at City Hall. American is Japanese tree lilac and the St. Croix elm this year. So really good.
Yeah.
Good.
You guys ought to offer delivery.
We could maybe work that in.
That's a problem. I can't put one of those in the back of my Jeep.
We can get in there.
We can get it.
Yeah.
If there's a request,
Can't get it out.
if there's a request,
I want to beat that before I get underground.
All right,
All right.
thank you, everybody.